Alright, so apparently I can't escape the Roblox drama because I am now accidentally in two separate controversies. One is about a very questionable Roblox FPS that got exposed for some pretty weird stuff, and we'll talk about that. And a second one, which is about Adrenaline, which I've made a few videos on, and as you guys might know, the game is privated. We'll talk about that, but also the game might be completely canceled. I'm not gonna lie, like it might be over for Adrenaline. That's not clickbait. All of the developers are now gone. I'm not even kidding. There's nobody working on the game. Seemed like it was going to be a cool Phantom Forces replacement, but maybe not. We'll talk about it though. First, let's talk about the bullet frenzy situation. If you guys didn't watch, a few days ago, I made a video called Top 10 Games to Replace Phantom Forces, and I basically played a bunch of Roblox games as well as like Battlefield and Call of Duty, just games that had kind of similar attachment systems and gameplay and stuff like that. Games like BattleBit Remastered as well, Deadline. And yeah, this was just a regular video. It wasn't a drama video. I was just playing the games. However, one of the games that I played was called Bullet Frenzy, and I did say that it had like anime girls on the front, and I thought that was pretty cringe, but I didn't really expect anything of it, and maybe I should, considering the thumbnail was just anime girls, but whatever. Because apparently I got a DM back in January from somebody telling me not to play this game because the community is weird, and when I posted the video, I started getting comments, I started getting DMs, and apparently the whole Bullet Frenzy community went crazy or something. Because after I discovered that this game had some issues, I just decided to leave a pinned comment, and I basically said that apparently one of the devs likes kids or something like that. I didn't know all the specifics, but yeah, there was a bunch of different comments and DMs about it, and I was just like, okay, maybe just don't play the game. But was I actually telling a malicious lie about this game, and were they innocent? Okay, no, they weren't innocent, but actually no, it's still pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Apparently the anime characters from this game are based off of a game that I'm not even going to name. Don't name it in the comments. It's basically a game that's bait for people that like anime girls that look like children. I'm just gonna say how to. And then putting it in your Roblox game as well is crazy, but that's not even the craziest part about it. Bullet Frenzy Discord had an NSFW channel. Yeah, it had an NSFW channel for their Roblox Discord, which obviously didn't have any kind of age verification, and also had images of anime girls that looked like children. Like, what are we doing, guys? Like, why? Now, nobody got specifically in this Discord server as far as we know. However, the people running the game, I don't like them for all this stuff, obviously. Like, even though they didn't necessarily do anything illegal, it's still really bad, and I'm not going to play the game anymore. And also, I've seen a bunch of different people from that community who are just extremely mentally ill and need to go outside. And before we get into the second part about Adrenaline, I just want to say, like, this is why I hate drama, because, like, this is so weird. Like, I don't want to learn about all these weird people, man. I just want to play the games, but unfortunately, some of the people that are running these games are just weird. Why are we making a Roblox game and being like this? I think actually there might be a reason. On to the second situation, which is the Adrenaline situation. Now, as you guys know, right after Phantom Forces was getting exposed by a bunch of different YouTubers, obviously I was one of the main people, but there was plenty of other people that were giving me evidence and making videos and stuff. And the entire community was basically in meltdown, and it's kind of over. Like, the community for Phantom Forces is basically gone now. Nobody really wants to touch the game as far as YouTube goes. And there was actually a game called Adrenaline that was being developed that was essentially just like Phantom Forces with more movement. Obviously, it's quite a different game, but also it was kind of like a spiritual successor to Phantom Forces before they nerfed the movement. This was something that had been worked on for a long time, like months and months at that point. So the game was somewhat playable, and people were playing it, people were making videos on it, but because Phantom Forces was under so much scrutiny, the Adrenaline people got under that much scrutiny, which is good because, you know, we want to expose the people that aren't very good. And the Adrenaline owner was named Vertex, and if you want to know like the details about it, I guess go watch my video on it. But to put it simply, the Vertex guy was very irresponsible and said a bunch of bad words, basically. Like, in the Adrenaline Discord, he was 16, so it wasn't like the most insane stuff ever. He didn't talk to anybody underage or anything like that. However, he wasn't paying people correctly as well, and he was just overall very irresponsible. So the Adrenaline community wanted him to step down, and that's what he did. And the co-owner named Liked took charge of the Discord. And while he was, I guess, less irresponsible because he was paying people, he didn't appear to be taking everything too seriously. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, during this time, I was involved with the game in terms of balancing. We weren't doing a ton of stuff because honestly, the game just wasn't that far along. It was very difficult to actually do balancing, and then this entire meltdown happened, which we're gonna talk about in a second. So my role in Adrenaline was not the biggest, and also I actually stepped down as the server manager because I was the Discord manager, but I didn't ask for that role. So I was like, okay, I'll just step down. I don't want to do it. But yeah, this is skipping over a bunch of different stuff. The Adrenaline Discord was basically having a meltdown every 35 seconds. It was ridiculous. There was a bunch of different situations with moderators that were just being very irresponsible and just doing weird stuff and having weird stuff on their Roblox and a bunch of different stuff. Ruben Sim people even got involved and started looking into everybody. It was kind of like a takeover of the Discord. And yeah, the entire situation was ridiculous. Not to mention, people were accusing Liked of being a different person named, I forgot the name of him, but a different person who had done some bad stuff in the past, which wasn't true. Liked was a different person. That individual, who I forgot the name of, had been funding Adrenaline in the past with essentially dirty Robux, I guess. I don't know. The entire situation was just so crazy. I didn't really get that involved in the Adrenaline community because all of this stuff was going on. It was ridiculous. There was so much stuff, and I don't really care that much about Roblox drama. I'm sorry, guys. Which might be a good thing because Adrenaline might be literally completely canned, and we'll talk about it because maybe it's not, but right now there's literally nobody working on the game, and all the people who were previously working on the game essentially built the game from the ground up. They are gone. They are like all gone because, like I said earlier, the Liked guy was not very responsible. He didn't take everything too seriously. He was using a bunch of anime gifs and stuff like that, and people were saying essentially he wasn't very responsible considering he was the owner of the game. You're supposed to be a little bit more responsible. You're supposed to take things seriously and lead better, which I think is a fair criticism. But then what happened after was a little overkill because Paysim, who is an ex-Phantom Forces YouTuber, decided to convince all of the Adrenaline developers that they should quit Adrenaline, go with him, and then make a new game. And that's exactly what happened. He actually convinced every single scripter and programmer on the game to essentially quit their job at the same time. Obviously, it's not like the same as a real job or anything. A lot of these people were essentially being contracted to work on one specific thing. It's not like they were getting a salary or anything like that. If they were getting a salary, they probably wouldn't have quit. But yeah, all of those people are essentially no longer working on the game, and then they were going to work on essentially a different Phantom Forces clone named something else. I forgot what the name is. Basically Adrenaline. It was literally just Adrenaline 2. And you might say this is pretty cringe because essentially for us, that just means the game is starting over and we have to wait, 2 years for the game to actually get finished again. And that's basically how it was going to be. And not just that, but also Paysim and all of those other people, when they left, they started kicking bots and changing roles and giving out invites to their new game. They were being very unprofessional about it. It was like they were going on strike and then also I don't know, trashing the whole workplace as well. But yeah, this plan didn't really work out too well because they had essentially no starting funding. They had a weird pay model where the founders were going to get 2% of the money and everybody else was going to get a lot more. However, I don't think they had anything to pay the people in the first place, so it just wasn't going to work out, which is why only a couple of days later, the new Adrenaline 2 people, they're all gone. They basically all jumped ship and they are working on their own projects now. So essentially all of the Adrenaline devs quit, went to work on a different game, and then all quit that and are no longer working on Adrenaline 3. Imagine that. That would have been fun. But yeah, right now we are in limbo and there is basically no plans for Adrenaline at the moment unless Liked gets literally an entirely new dev team, which would be pretty difficult. They'd have to work with previous people's code, which I don't know if that would work too well. In conclusion, I'm not going to be playing the Bullet Frenzy game. I don't want to support the devs because they're just weird. I don't think they did anything illegal, but they're just weird and I don't want to play their game. Main conclusion here is go outside. Don't worry about Roblox drama. This is not that serious. And I guess you can subscribe and like the video, but I don't really care. Have a nice day. Bye.